Today I figured I would service my Technics SLM1 professional manual turntable, and well, it ended up looking like this logo opening here. Didn't go as planned, so now we gotta figure out how I'm gonna fix this thing. Started out so simple. Just clean the pitch control. What could go wrong, right? There was a booby trap waiting for me. This is my personal Technics Quartz Direct Drive SLM1 turntable. This is the one that I've been using myself personally since I think I got this in 1980. I'm going to say 84. I don't even know the exact year. 85 maybe, 86. Let's see if we can see what year this thing was made. I don't even know what year this one was made, to tell you the truth. I've had it since the I'm going to say 85, maybe 86, mid 80s. This was one of the high-end turntables they made that followed like the SL1200, which was an automatic. This was the manual turntable. This was the disc jockey's turntable. Quartz lock, and the thing gets up to speed like within, I think it's a third of a turn, something like that, something ridiculous, to give you an idea how accurate the speed is on this one. The only problem with this is my pitch control doesn't work. I have to keep it in the factory setting mode. If I put up my RPM speed checker on this, we'll just set it to the side here. I'll do both, but I'll just show you here. Start. So start my turntable. If you look at the strobe here, the strobe is completely still. And it's telling me that this is going. So the wow on this time I tested it was 0.07. Usually it's like 0.03. 0.07. Put it onto the middle here. We'll test it again. Oh, wow. The wow is 0.02%. That's about as low as I've ever seen any wow on any turntable. This thing is just phenomenal. This is one of the best turntables I've ever come across. I'll show you what makes this thing so special. It's the motor. You look under the, and this, by the way, is quite heavy. Look at how chunky that rubber is. This is heavy. This thing here weighs probably close to a pound. The actual platter itself on here. That's the magnet. So this is actually the motor. There's just the coils here and the pickup. There's a pickup down here for the speed that picks up magnets that are encoded in here to detect the speed. See this, like it's been balanced. They've drilled it out. They balance this thing like they would balance a wheel in a car. Just amazing. What I need to do to this one is I need to clean this control. That's all that's wrong with it. Oh, there's some dust on here from all these years of sitting with the turntable with the platter on. So we have to clean that off. That can never do. So I'm going to remove the bottom. I've never been into this turntable, incidentally. I've never seen the inside of this thing. Wow. All wood. No plastic in this thing. Look at that. There's the motor, the regulator, speed control. Here's our our tone arm over here, and yes, the tone arm is changeable on this. I have a straight arm with a P mount cartridge, but there was another turntable, another arm you could put on. Just unscrew it and put your own arm on, right? But yeah, it was our power transformer is over here. This is for the strobe, the LED for the strobe, and this is I think this is the start stop button if I'm not mistaken. And the speed buttons, yeah, start stop and speed buttons are over here. This is the control I need to get at, and that's the arm lifter button and the power button. So I should be able to actually just pop this control out. Looks like it just is held in place with one screw. So let's see if I can pop out the control, give it a shot of deoxit or neutral. Either one's going to work.
I'm going to tell you right now, don't do this. If you do, you're going to be cursing like I'm going to be cursing in a minute. This is a trap. Even though there's a screw there, if you try to lift that circuit board out, you're going to break the control. The control is going to snap. And I'm going to be cursing shortly. It's much more work to take this thing apart and clean this control than that. Look at that. I just broke the control.
Damn, I broke the control. I think I broke the control. Ah, god damn, I broke the control. I'll have to try and glue that. The plastic broke off the stupid thing. Instead of it popping out, it snapped off. Son of a brittle plastic. God damn. That's kind of a piss off. That's probably more than enough to clean that control up. So that should have just slid right out of that control on the front. But it didn't.
The reason why it didn't is because you actually have to lift the entire panel off the unit. There's 3 bolts, and you lift the entire unit off, and then you can remove the plastic housing and then take the control apart. This is going to go back together quite easy. I'm just going to get my soldering iron out and I'm going to fuse the plastic back together. So no damage, but still, I'm kind of ticked that that trap was built in there for me. They should have had this thing assembled in such a way that you couldn't take that circuit board out, because the obvious thing is just to take that screw out
on with my
lift the board out.
Soldering iron. So I've put the control back together. And hopefully it's strong enough. I gotta figure out how to get that control back together without that thing getting damaged again. It should just pop in, because it just slides into that control. So why it came out, I don't know, because it should just slide right in, straight down, and latch in place with these latches.
So I figured I could just take the bracket out and put the control back together, but as I'm going to find out, I can't, because the wooden cabinet is in the way. So what has to come out is I actually have to take the entire metal bezel off the front with all the controls on it. That entire piece has to come out in order to remove these plastic holders that hold the controls in place.
Well, it started out as such a simple thing. I thought it was so simple to do this, and now I got to start dismantling the whole unit. Well, the thing's not metric. 7/30 seconds.
You know, you would have thought for what this turntable sold for at the time that they would have used something other than particle board. You know, like, it has such a nice finish. Too bad they didn't make it out of solid wood like that, because that would have really made it nicer.
Gotta pull the whole front off this thing out of the wood to get at these controls, to take it apart. In order to get this piece out, that means I gotta undo these plugs. And this one here for the button. That's just so that I can put this control back together, because the control sits in like this. It's kind of a stupid way of doing things, but hey, that was Technics for you. So the pitch control snaps into place. You know, they fool you because there's a screw that you can take out and just, you figure you just pop these two clips and it lifts out, but it doesn't. You have to actually take this block apart to do it. Otherwise, you're going to break that pitch control like I did, which I've now put back together. So now I have to put this piece back in, and it screws into place. There's a couple bolts that hold it in place. So it's got to get this lined up here on the back here. I'll just release this power cord a bit so I have more room to work. This is the power switch on the front here. Okay, so I've got to get this back in, and then I can put the two nuts on to hold that back in place, and then put this whole panel back into the wood. And my little lens fell out now it's fallen into here. I guess the glue failed on that. I'm going to have to take it apart again and put the little red light lens in there. It's sitting in the cabinet here now. It just fell out. The glue that holds that little lens in place let go. You can see it was glued right there on the edge, so a little bit of crazy glue will hold that in place, I'm sure. Get some glue on there and glue that in place and let that set up for a minute. Okay, I've glued that piece back in. Time to reassemble the pitch control. Okay, it's back together. I can adjust the pitch control now. I'm odd that all the radio stations did on these was they put a parallel switch across S303. This is the start-stop. So they put a parallel switch across here and ran it to the mix board so that the DJ could cue the record up and then just tap the button on the mix board and the turntable would spring to life. That's why these ones were very popular with radio station DJs, because remote start-stop. Of course, the same would be true if he touched the button again when he was on the air. He could accidentally stop it as well. But a lot of these were used for that reason. They put a plug on the back so they could just plug it right into the console, and they were good to go. I'm going to mount the power switch back on here again. I took the power switch off just to make it easier to work on this. Now I'll remount the control board.
pops into place. A trick I learned, if you're trying to put nuts into small places, just magnetize your nut driver. Stick a magnet to the side of it like that, and then hopefully the nut will stay in place and you can pop it back in where it belongs. Now just to plug in all the plugs again and route the wires the way that they were originally routed to avoid them being anywhere near where the signal is. The signal's of course back here. I did neglect to mention that when you're working on these, you have to keep anything magnetic away from this, or it's going to get on that magnet and you're never going to get it off of there. So I cover it up with the bottom of the rubber mat just to make sure that nothing gets anywhere near it. We have power. Let's test it out, see how it works. I have quartz lock and I have control with the speed control. Sticking a little bit, but that's okay because I don't use it anyway. I leave it in quartz lock. That's all I ever listen to records is at the correct speed, and the quartz lock on this is absolutely correct, as we've confirmed already. And we can do it again just for the fun of it. Wow, 0.03%. The quartz lock is slightly slow according to this, but how accurate is this? I look at the strobe, and the strobe here is absolutely perfect. As you can see, the strobe is absolutely perfect. It is not budging. So that is the exact speed. Here's what made these turntables so sought after. Oh, come on, phone. Really? Really? You're gonna make noise? Come on, phone. Stop buzzing away. DJs would do this. They'd get the record, they go. And then you go back like a third of a turn. Then when you're announcing the song, you hit your start button and you're up to speed. One third of a turn, right? You might even do it in a quarter. It's damn fast. Yeah, even a quarter turn. It's up to speed in a quarter, right? We look at there. If I go back a quarter turn, this thing's up to speed in a quarter. I always back queued 1/3. My phone's making noise again. Come on, stupid cell phone. I'm being spied on, obviously. But yeah, well, I say 1/4, 1/3 of a turn. I always went 1/3 when I was queuing, because I used to use this for making mixtapes, and but even at one quarter turn. If we listen to it, if I start it right at the beat, yeah, 1/4 turn. They don't get much stronger than that, folks. That was right up with the. I think we had we used to use the Rusco Q-Master, and it was we used to back Q 1/4 turn on that, because it was a direct. Well, it wasn't direct drive. It was a idler drive, but it had a great big motor. Like the motor was like a quarter horsepower motor at the bottom of this bloody turntable, and you'd cue your record up. You'd release it had a clutch on the side. To change the speed, 33, 45, 78, etc. And you'd put it in neutral, and you'd cue your record. You'd go back like a quarter turn, engage it in 33, and it just had a switch, a toggle switch. You flick the switch up, and it would... But anyway, hey, that was the fun part, right? This one here is just an auto-stop turntable, this one. So basically what happens when it gets to the end... All it does... It doesn't do anything, really. It lifts the you see, it just stops it and it just lifts it, and that's all it does. No auto return, no nothing. This is a fully manual turntable. The only thing it does is lift the arm. And again, to cue it up, you hit the queuing button, and of course, the speed, 33 or 45. Anyway, that's it. That's my SLM1. The best turntable I have. I got that Thorns TD165. I don't use it. I use this one because, as I say, this is the best one that I have. The only thing I could probably want to do on this is change the cartridge on it. I've got a Signet on here now, which is... It's not a bad sounding cartridge. It actually has pretty good sound. But the only thing I didn't like when I got this was the plug-in cartridge. But again, it's 3 bolts to change to a different arm. I could put the S-curve arm on if I wanted. That was an option for it. But when I got this turntable, I picked this up for a song. These were selling for like $1,600. That's what the price on this heavy solid wood block turntable is. It was $1,600. And Panasonic were blowing them out. I don't even want to tell you what I paid for this thing. Brand new, I only paid like $250 for this thing. Brand new. I'd say that was back in 1980. I'm going to say 86. Somewhere, 85, 86. That TDW 1010 that I got, that JVC 3-head cassette deck that a buddy of mine gave to me. He bought it from JVC. Same thing. It was a tape deck that was selling for like $1,300, $1,299, and he picked it up for a song because it was... Well, there was huge markup. People didn't realize how much markup there was in stereo, but there was big markup in this stuff. But even buying it wholesale, this would have probably been $1,000 wholesale. And they had a blowout. They had a fire sale when CD was taking over, and they were dumping their turntables like as fast as they could. This came up as an offer for the dealer, and I only bought one, and I should have bought 2. Anyway, Thanks for watching. It's now working like it's supposed to. My pitch control, thanks to me breaking the stupid the pot in there, which I may have to just replace that someday. It's a little bit stiff now moving it, but it does move. It's just a little bit on the stiff side, but it works. It's clean now. It works. Not that I need it. It's something that's bugged me for a while. That it would, if I turned it off, the speed would vary because the pot was dirty. Anyway, now it's good. Thanks for watching. We'll catch you in the next one. Bye.